can terrain demands small, specialized teams establish forward operating points.
I've heard of forward operating bases, but not forward operating points. Point sounds smaller than base.
Because it is. What? Say it.
Sorry, no. I just, it also sounds like Panagani for bait.
Janine, it's not like we're putting one or two guys on the mountain here. Right? Small is how we fight now.
As the man in the air-conditioned room.
This is the fight that we're in. And unfortunately, civilizations do not sustain themselves through nonviolent response.
Well, what does that mean? Are you going to now forego diplomacy and State Department
We
treaty?
were attacked. You did not respond to an attack with diplomacy. Bin Laden's idea of diplomacy is not filming the beheadings. Saddam violated 16 UN resolutions, and the UN responded by issuing 30-plus sternly worded statements condemning his behavior, all the while France, China, and Russia continued to trade with Saddam under the table.
And didn't we also arm Saddam in the 80s?
But here we are now.
Yes, here we are now. And don't you think it might be critical to examine how we got to this
How
point?
and why is not the issue now. We have to move forward. We're fighting a brand of evil that thinks the last 1,300 years of human progress is heresy, punishable by violent death. Now, if that's something that you don't feel should be wiped from the face of
I would like to see Bin Laden dead and gone as much as anybody, but I just don't understand how you cannot want to look at the past. Not think it's critical.
What is critical, what is relevant, is the implementation of a new strategy that would win this war. A war we cannot lose.
But we're not winning it.
Yet. This new strategy can change that.
How about a strategy to bring the troops home?
So leave.
That's not an option?
Okay, let's play this out. We walk, and Afghanistan reverts back to the Taliban. Only now the Taliban has metastasized into something infinitely more vicious and potent because they're now 2-0 versus superpowers. They butcher the people who helped us, who voted, who were stupid enough to put their faith in our word. So call it not only the end of hope for tens of millions of Afghans, but the end of American credibility, the end of America as a force for righteousness in the world.
When did America
And when we're forced to go back in a couple of years, and please quote me on this, we'll be squared off against a shattered Iraq, a hopeless Afghanistan, and a nuclear Iran. How many troops are we going to need then? I guarantee you'll be adding some zeros.
Wait. May I speak freely? You're about to implement another new strategy, regardless of the human cost or the financial cost, because you predict
We thought
that
deeply
maybe.
about the human cost when we were planning this strategy.
What were your estimates exactly?
What I can say is that this strategy has patience and determination at its core. It ensures that it puts our fighting men in spots where they can face, fight, and kill the enemy, so that we can then go about rebuilding that country. And if it takes 10 years, that's how long we stay. We do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Then why did it take 3 years to up-armor our Humvee?
They're up-armored now, at my constant urging.
Add-ons don't provide the same protection, Senator, you know that. And why did the president insist on spending billions on subs and fighter planes that are completely useless in this kind of
What do
war?
you think I'm working
And why do we send 150,000 troops to a country that did not attack us, and 1/10 that number to the one that did?
How many times are you people going to ask that question?
Till we get those answers.
Okay. Here goes. Iraq was almost a first world country.
Was it?
We took it quick because we had numbers. Afghanistan was, is, and always will be the definition of rugged third world. Big numbers have bogged down there since before Alexander became the Great.
We took Iraq? How did I miss that?
Militarily, we did. We made mistakes. Colossal mistakes. That should never be forgotten. But 6 years ago, who could have known what to do or when to do it? After watching our jets fly into our buildings. Do you remember how petrified we were of what our enemies might do for an encore? And how all at once, everything was at risk. Families, friends, kindergartens, rivers and bridges, nuclear plants. Do you remember how terror-colored that next morning in shades we'd never seen before? because of that fear and the mistakes it inspired. But the question I'm left with, the question that keeps me up at night, because I have